Good evening, Thabo, and your viewers. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So, I mean, it's a battle to capture the hearts and minds of South Africans. And we certainly saw some political theatre this past weekend. And, of course, it has raised the temperature a little bit around those contesting. I'm beginning to hear some murmurs around to say, well, the Democratic Alliance is making all this noise because it is seeing a potential of the EFF dislodging it as the second biggest party in the country. Can the EFF do that?
The EFF is certainly going to grow come next year, but I doubt that in terms of national average, it will become the second biggest party. I think the growth trajectory will still need a few more elections in order for it to achieve that status. They may probably, increase their share of one or two provinces. I suspect they will retain the provinces where they are the opposition, but there's marginal growth in other provinces outside of its strongholds. I doubt that it would replace the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance, though, is certainly facing a potential downward slant in its electoral performance next year. And I think that John Steenhuisen and the leadership of the DA are panicking about that. It's facing about two splinter parties that come, from the Democratic Alliance, and things can't be easy for them in this election.
Yeah. And what is, the analysis so far is, at least from the EFF's point of view, even by their own admission, that the ANC will drop significantly below 50%, but not to an extent that it will be further than 40%. So either way, it does not seem to say, or at least suggest, that the EFF itself is going to grow past the 50% mark or even anything close to that. So where do they derive this confidence of saying they will be in government, at least at a national level?
Well, first of all, they have to sound very strong. I think they put up a really good show at the weekend, save for the challenges around, for example, the trending Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer slogan. Besides that, I think they put in a really good showing. And I think they're going to try and maintain that posture of a party that's quite bullish about its prospects for growth. But I think that as a party with its brand of politics, in a South Africa that has proven in the democratic period to prefer moderate to centrist politics, it's not going to grow at the levels that Julius Malema and company would love to have the party grow. I think if they get about 3%, that would be a really a good success for them. But I doubt anything beyond that. Yeah, with mere campaign craft.
So where is the 7% of the ANC going to go? Because by suggestion, if we're saying the ANC is going to drop below 50%, it means it's going to lose 7% of its vote. Is that a significant chunk of the ANC going to go to the DA? Is it going to go to the EFF? Where is it going to go?
Definitely, I doubt it's going to go to the DA. There may be people who like the performance-driven messaging of the DA, but the majority of the voter base in South Africa does not trust the Democratic Alliances, especially when it comes to, its attitude towards inclusion, socioeconomic inclusion. They are fighting everywhere to try and block attempts to bring about in a more inclusive economy, given their opposition to affirmative action and black economic empowerment. So they are alienating that constituency. Also, the centrist support base, both black and white, cannot be comfortable with a Democratic Alliance that's increasingly pursuing sort of further right politics to contest the Freedom Front Plus. I think that they panicked after they lost a little bit of support in 2019 to the Freedom Front Plus. My view was that that's not the support that the party should actually be going for. It should be looking to become a lot more of a broad church so that it can reach the threshold of trust that's necessary for it to attract majority support. Obviously, they actually, stifled that process by their own strategy, and it seems like now they are panickingly looking into seriously contesting the position of Freedom Front and AfriForum, if AfriForum was a party that actually campaigned for contested elections.
Interesting that you raise it, because they are, of course, patting themselves in the bag as one of the parties, in fact, the only party whose support base in urban areas is growing. That's according to the Social Research Foundation report that they are looking at. And they are saying a majority of the people who are supporting the party are actually are black people. Black people make up the biggest chunk of the DA support. And so they're saying their mission is to cultivate a diverse support base as their ticket to securing their victory in 2024.
It's one thing what they say in practice, and I think that support base, obviously, there are people in South Africa who want to give it a benefit of doubt on the basis of its performance in governance. But also, there are people who, while they may be keen to do so, are precluded to do so by the party's, rhetoric, which is anti-transformation. It's very clear and quite blatant that it's anti-transformation. So, in my view, from a strategic point of view, the black majority support is a matter of the emerging strategy rather than the deliberate strategy of the party. It's very clear from its conduct that it's actually seeking to reclaim its position as a minority representative party. Unfortunately, though, it no longer does so with less opposition in that electoral market. It's facing Action SA, Rise South Africa, BUSA, and many others that hold this brand of politics, which is more nation-building oriented and is not further from the ANC and the Democratic Alliance.
Explain, have we ever actually gotten around, maybe we did, this phenomenon of ANC, you would have said at its height had 1.4 million membership, right? Now it's said to have dropped to about 600,000. The policy of the DA is they never divulge their membership. So we're not quite sure where they are sitting, except to know that I think in 2019 they said it had tripled. Now the EFF is telling us that they have grown to 1 million in terms of membership. So if the ANC at 1 million membership could attract 10 million votes in 2019, how does that dynamic work when now you have an EFF with 1 million members?
So I haven't looked at that much detail in terms of what is the correlation between a party's membership base and its prospects in elections. You're quite right. The ANC's results have been disproportionate to its members. In fact, the research in South Africa since the late 1990s, early 2000s has shown that people who identify with the party are less, and they have been declining with each successive election, even as numbers of people who vote for these parties were increasing. So sometimes party loyalty or party identification doesn't tell us a story of how well a party is going to do, but obviously does form part of its electoral machinery, because you've got more boots on the ground that can actually help mobilize and campaign for the party.
Dr. Ongama Mtimka, appreciate your time. As always, thanks so much for coming on tonight.